Number 9. Melira Perez. In December of 2016, a woman from Boynton Beach, Florida, was arrested after shooting a man near Green Acres and engaging the police in a high-speed chase in West Palm Beach. 23-year-old Melira Perez had approached a porch where 28-year-old Armando Lopez and a relative were sitting. She held them at gunpoint, robbed them, and then fatally shot Lopez. A week before the shooting, he'd reportedly been kidnapped and beaten, an incident believed to have been a form of retaliation for him selling guns in the area. After the shooting, Perez then fled the scene. The woman, whose facial tattoos included an eye in the middle of the forehead and the word "fame" above her brow, was found on December the 7th. She drove off in a Nissan Altima, ignoring officers' commands and leading them on a chase in which speeds of up to 100 miles per hour were recorded. She then parked on Pine Abbey Drive S and placed her backpack under the seat before she got out and tried to hide. The police took her in without incident and found weapons, including the gun used to shoot Lopez, as well as a large amount of drugs in her possession. Aside from the murder weapon, detectives discovered traces of the victim's blood in the rental car that Perez had been driving. Surveillance footage and cell phone location data also placed her at the scene, in addition to the eyewitness reports. In 2020, Perez was sentenced to 40 years after pleading guilty to second-degree murder. Number 8. Anthony Ward. In 2018, Ohio law enforcement was looking for 45-year-old Anthony Ward, known as Popeye, in connection with a series of break-ins that had occurred in the Adams and Brown counties. The police decided to post his picture on Facebook, and because of his distinctive face tattoos, Ward was apprehended within 8 hours. Ward's artwork partially covered his skull, but the feature that made him instantly recognizable was a tattoo reminiscent of Hannibal Lecter's face mask from the Silence of the Lambs movie. It covered half his face, starting from above the tip of the nose and stretching from ear to ear. Ward was held at the Clement County Jail on charges that included breaking and entering, theft, and receiving stolen property. It wasn't Ward's first run-in with the law. A year prior, he'd been accused of trying to entice an underage girl to get into his truck in Springsboro. In court, the girl stated she was afraid she'd never see her family again and promptly slammed the door in his face. Ward and his lawyers defended the accusation by claiming that he'd only been looking to make a living by plowing people's driveways in the area. His lawyers added that people always assumed the worst of him because of his terrifying tattoos, which he'd gotten in prison and was saving money to have removed. The jury deliberated for half an hour and Ward was acquitted. Number 7. DEON HULSE. In October of 2011, authorities in Walsall, England, spotted a group of men trying to tie down pieces of metal to a Ford Transit. After his accomplices had fled, 29-year-old DEON HULSE, whose entire face was emblazoned by a skull tattoo, was left standing by the vehicle. The police realized that the frames were actually market stalls, stolen from Brown Hills Market, to be sold as scrap metal. There were 7 of them, each worth the equivalent of nearly $700. HULSE, who called himself Mad Dog, made a full confession and admitted to helping the men load the stalls into the vehicle, adding that he'd planned to use the money to cover a cannabis debt. In July of the previous year, the police had seized the drugs from him during a raid. According to his defense, HULSE had been holding the cannabis for a friend while he was on holiday. It was that same friend who'd allegedly pressured him into helping steal the frames so that he could restore his stash. HULSE was ultimately spared jail time for both the theft and the previous drug possession, receiving instead a suspended sentence of 12 months. HULSE had achieved some notoriety after an appearance on The Jeremy Kyle Show. He had been volunteered for the show by his then-girlfriend for a segment called "How Could My Boyfriend Destroy His Own Face?" After failing a lie detector test in which he was asked if he'd slept with other women, the host told him, "You are a liar and a cheat, and you look ridiculous." Number 6. Robert Michael. After an attempted car theft, police in Jackson County, Missouri were able to quickly track down Robert Michael on account of his extensive face and neck tattoos. In addition to black tribal streaks that ran over his eyes, Michael also had an automatic rifle on his neck. He'd entered a church in Oak Grove and asked the pastor for a lift to the nearby city of Independence. While reluctant at first, the clergyman eventually accepted after Michael had told him that he had family problems. While the car was parked outside of a home, he twice tried to grab the keys out of the ignition. On the second failed attempt, the pastor assumed control of the vehicle, hoping he'd be able to drive away. It was at that moment that Michael brandished a knife and demanded his wallet. The pastor abandoned his truck and ran away. He flagged down a passing motorist who alerted the police and subsequently gave the authorities a description of his attacker. He was arrested a short time later and charged with first-degree attempted robbery. Number 5. Corey Schmidt. By the time of his arrest in February of 2010, Corey Schmidt was already known to law enforcement in Two Rivers, Wisconsin. It marked the 5th time that 29-year-old Schmidt was arrested for drunk driving since his first offense in 2004. In the latest incident, his blood alcohol level was nearly 4 times greater than the legal driving limit. Aside from his drunk driving, Schmidt was also known to locals because of his extensive face tattoos. His collection featured the phrase, "Love kills slow," above a skull and crossbones on his neck, with spider webs on each side. One of the most unusual choices of artwork was the dots over his eyebrows, with a second set of eyebrows tattooed just above them. After he was apprehended for the 5th time, Smith became belligerent in the back of the patrol car. Officers used pepper spray on him as he started slamming his head on the back seat. When considering his record, a judge took away his license for 40 months, ordered him to maintain complete sobriety, and submit to routine urine tests. Smith also had to spend 10 months in jail under a work release program. Number 4. Donald Murray. In late 2019, Donald Murray led Indiana police on a high-speed chase after they attempted to pull him over for driving without any lights on his vehicle. The pursuit ended with 38-year-old Murray crashing his car into a tree and then fleeing on foot. He didn't avoid the police for long, as he was easily identifiable by his array of face tattoos, one of which was the word Playboy on the side of his face and, quite ironically, Crime Pays on his forehead. The incident was featured on an episode of Live PD, and Murray was arrested shortly afterwards. Only a few months later, Murray was back in jail again for engaging the Terre Haute Police Department on a short chase. From his latest criminal offense, Murray faced charges of auto theft, reckless driving, methamphetamine possession, and resisting law enforcement. Number 3. Matthew Joseph Medlin. In 2020, an Oregon man with extensive face tattoos was arrested by the police as he was trying to rob a snack shack at a railway station. 36-year-old Matthew Joseph Medlin fled the scene and tried to hide in a nearby supermarket. He was confronted by the pursuing officers because the storage room he'd sought refuge in only had one exit. Medlin reached under his jacket and threatened to shoot the officers, but was tasered in response. It was subsequently revealed that he had no gun on him. The police discovered that Medlin had been in and out of jail for nearly 2 decades. During this time, his mugshots showed a progression of his face ink, which gradually came to include menacing pointed eyebrows and 4 tears on his cheeks. His criminal record featured, among others, a conviction on burglary and assault charges in 2013, and escaping from jail only a few days prior to his release in May of 2014. Today's topic was inspired by Instagram followers Random Randy Artist, McHugh Anthony, and Official BP. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below, or follow us on Instagram and reach out to us there. Number 2. Patrick Revins. In 2014, a man pulled a bread knife at a bank in Hanley, England, after a clerk had asked him to leave because he was too drunk to use his cash card. It only took the police 20 minutes to locate and arrest Patrick Revins, who had his initials tattooed on his face, as well as the word Annette in the center of his forehead. The 49-year-old admitted to brandishing the 8-inch blade, claiming he'd flown into a rage because he was unable to operate the cash machine. He was subsequently jailed for 27 months on 3 charges of possessing a bladed weapon. Number 1. Morgan Joyce Vaughn. On April the 24th of 2017, South Carolina resident Morgan Joyce Vaughn and an accomplice engaged a SWAT team in a standoff following a kidnapping and robbery at her Lancaster County home. Vaughn and Jonathan Robinson, both in their 20s, were present at the residence along with several other people. An unnamed man whom Vaughn had invited over was held by Robinson at gunpoint. The woman demanded his money and cell phone, threatening him with an ashtray. Before the pair let him go, Vaughn reportedly smashed his cell phone. The man went to one of the neighbors who phoned the police. 3 deputies arrived and demanded the occupants leave the house. Several complied, but Vaughn, Robinson, and a second unidentified woman refused to do so. A SWAT team and a crisis negotiator were called to the scene. They attempted unsuccessfully to talk them out of the home for several hours. The SWAT team then went in and managed to bring them into custody without the exchange of gunfire. They found a handgun and ammunition inside, as well as a considerable sum of money on Robinson's person. Both were arrested on kidnapping and armed robbery charges, among others. Vaughn's mugshot subsequently became viral online and was described by some commenters as demonic or nightmare fuel. She had tattoos on her face and neck, dark lipstick, and the whites of her eyes were completely blackened. A TV station referred to her mugshot as something that would haunt viewers' dreams. A few years earlier, in 2015, Vaughn had made local news thanking York County police officers for helping deliver her daughter when she was unable to reach the hospital in time. Her eyes and much of her face wasn't tattooed at the time. Thanks for watching. Would you rather get an offensive face tattoo or spend a year at Supermax Prison, ADX Florence? Let us know in the comments section below.